Hello and welcome back to Inquisitor Martyr. We're gonna jump back into more intel real quick. Still got quite a few of these. I actually have like 60 in storage, but I don't plan on going through all of those right now. That would be a fair amount. Let's see. Oh, damage bonus for villains and commanders. Easy. Keep going with the Psalm codes. Oh, that was influence. That's what I had picked last time. Grab the usuals just for extra high quality items. And because the rest of these aren't that good. Tarot cards and Empyrean seals. I guess I could start running that. I'll probably do that next time.
We've detected multiple reality distortion waves near you, Inquisitor. The warp gates are active. I've activated the jelly shields to protect the sanity of my crew.
So I was looking on Bell Lost Souls again, and they had a bit about like the most played factions in tournaments. And it's got, you know, who's been winning the most, which this past week, the top winning faction was Orcs. You know, good for them. Good to see the Orcs on top. But the most played for almost a year has been Space Marines. And I'm sitting here, my initial thought was like, man, Space Marines must be good. And then I realized, no, it's because they keep getting new stuff. Of course people are going to play the faction that keeps getting new units. If they're getting attention, that means they're getting good things and getting most likely buffs. I bet if they had a full breakdown of factions, the faction that has had the longest time since an update will be the bottom faction because they're the weakest. Only 2 of the top 10 I saw were Chaos, and that was Death Guard and Thousand Suns, and Thousand Suns was a new addition, I think, last week. Or the week before. I can't remember. I looked away and my mind instantly wiped everything. But it's just one of those things where I'm just trying to think of how to word this. Factions get screwed. And it's, especially for competitive, it's a terrible metric. Because all you're seeing is who's getting the most new stuff, typically. Orcs, I want to know what trick people have found with Orcs. Because that's an interesting one to see on top. Necrons were like bottom, like 10th slot, I think, and it looks like they're on the way out. Which I'm not surprised. I kind of figured they would be. I've said it before, I will say it again, and I will say it in the future. I think we should just let factions be imbalanced. If Necrons want to keep reanimating and are just an annoying army, go for it. Let them be annoying. A big thing in my eyes is you're typically not doing like an annihilation. You know, your goal isn't to wipe out the other army, it's to secure objectives. Unless you actually have a side objective of just kill stuff. But, you know, raise their point cost. If it's going to be that difficult to deal with them, rebalance them that way instead of nerfing abilities. And that's not entirely just me being biased because I like Necrons. I just think everybody should get to be OP. You know, let Tau just be firing lines that are just absolutely withering people. I think it's cool. Because in the end, your counter? Just slap them. Cow can't take a punch to save their life. That's all you have to do. You know, just drop guys in on them, behind them, get some jump guys. People just have to get creative. And I think part of the problem when it comes to a lot of balance is how maps are laid out. You know, you're fighting in a rectangle. There realistically is little to no options for flanking. For wargaming, there's very little tactics. I can't take orcs, load up a truck, and just skirt a long way around, you know, chewing time, potentially losing positions or losing objectives for a flank. And I should be able to. You know, let players make their own decisions. Yeah, bigger maps kinda suck for setting up, but they're also a lot more interesting. You can put more terrain. It's not just, oh, here's 3 little blocks, that's the map. You know, you can have a big spire or have an industrial zone with a bunch of stuff blocking shots and blocking areas. In the end, my whole thing is get creative. You can do a lot and make some very interesting encounters if you just give more space. Hell, if anything, I would say make it a separate tournament series or style. You know, you have your standard map layout, point values. Think almost Apocalypse, but without the sheer numbers. And maybe not sheer size, depending on how much space you need. You know, think like... I'm trying to think of a good design. 4 standard maps. Or standard, like, environments. I can't remember if it's 3 feet by 2 feet or what it is exactly. But whatever it is, you don't have a 2x2 of that layout. You have a lot more room to maneuver, you have a lot more room just to position, ambush, to do whatever you need. And it also, I think, gives vehicles, like trucks and whatnot, a bit more value.
Enemy reinforcements are emerging into real space. We're still detecting signs of demonic presence. Go to the next rift.
Because even then with that, it would add a new, like, level of complexity. Because then you could have, you know, guys who have very slow movement. Okay, on a small map, movement isn't that big a deal. On a bigger map, that movement can be a big issue, so you have to start investing into transport. You know, do you get a transport with weapons attached? Do you cheap out and get something without weapons? Drive down the point value, but also it exists just to transport and serve as cover? Different things, you know. I would go as far as to even introduce, because I don't think there's any ruling for, like, dozer blades on tanks and stuff. Or if it is, it's very simple, like, oh, it just ignores certain things. I would say give vehicles with dozer blades the ability to create cover. You know, you can have a little cover piece that you can plop down that serves as, you know, improvised cover, because that's what dozer blades on tanks are for. And on bulldozers, you move dirt, they're earth movers. You move some dirt, you push it, create a bit of cover for your infantry, offload them, if you have like a chimera or something, and there you go. You've now created a forward position. If you wanted to be real tricksy about it, you could introduce, like, it has a static amount of health and can be destroyed. think of it as, you know,
Teleport beacon in range.
I'm trying to think of what it would be, like, I think it's a Bangalore torpedo, the explosive rods that were used in, like, World War II to blow out barbed wire and anti-tank hedgehogs and stuff like that. You could be like, oh yeah, you can just blow up these dirt mounds, essentially removing the cover because you're blasting enough earth out of the embankment that's created that it's no longer a viable piece. You know, you could do stuff like that. Adds a bit more utility to explosives or any destructive device like that. Lots of things that could be done. And it adds more value to terrain pieces. Then maybe Games Workshop will actually start selling more terrain pieces separately. Instead of making people buy Kill Team box sets. Essentially, in my eyes, just for the terrain. Because the terrain is important. And it adds so much personality to fights. And you don't have to keep a can of Spam around as a piece of terrain. Your environments can be believable.
You have averted a disaster. All the warp gates are sealed, although I can still hear the echoes in my head.
What do we get? Probably decent, but not great. Yeah. Man, I have not gotten a relic or higher in a while. Hey, leveled up. Cool. That's actually a great sign. I was starting to worry about when my level ups were going to be. Okay, so for level ups, there's a few options here. Bonus damage for skills dealing physical, useful. Bleeding effect, not that useful, but if I keep going debuff, I can get that 5% damage for each debuff effect, but I have to chew through all of these. Hang on, what's that? Oh, shock debuff to knockdown. Do I knock people down? No, I don't knock anyone down. That's kind of a waste. Ooh, damage against slowed enemies. That's actually really good. Especially because I do slow a ton. And that's just free damage. Physical resist, okay. Let's make this difficult for myself. Reflect heat damage, don't care. I shouldn't have given them the heat. Well, whatever. Heat resist, we'll manage.
Priority targets identified in teleportarium range. Decoded Vox transmissions and Augur scans indicate high importance and limited combat capabilities. Neutralizing the targets offers significant long-term benefits.
One thing I also saw in the article was apparently a really good team right now is Tyranids. Happy to see Tyranids getting good again. I would go over the build, but the article lists the full build, every piece of war gear, everything. I know it was specifically High Fleet Leviathan, a bunch of stuff. I'd have to sit down and read verbatim, because it definitely was not some basic thing of oh yeah, just warrior spam. If it was that easy, I'd be able to just say it, but it's a whole song and dance of a list. Yeah, that bonus for slow is gonna be good. Oh, I didn't pick the thing that gives you tarot cards. That's what I was gonna do. Every time I do this, I get into the second mission, and my brain just completely shuts off. Mostly because every time I talk, and I end things, I think of something else to say, and I'm like, oh crap, I could have talked about that too. And then I just forget about what else I was doing. Well, if they're all gonna funnel in through one way, I'll just put my mines down. Yeah, the reflect heat damage is completely moot, considering... Whoa, nearly dead. Okay, so it's that stupid turret, because as I say, I take damage reflected, but I can also heal off hit. I just have to stick to using the needler rifle. It's only a 2% damage penalty. I'm not realistically losing a lot of damage. Wait, how did he... He hit that guy. Have they always been able to do that? I feel like that's a new trick, because I would have remembered Ogrins slapping each other. Also, we need more Chaos Ogrins. Since we have Plague Ogrins, I want Corngrins. Yeah, that'd probably be the proper title. You know, give them big chain axes. As I say that, I realize it's just a stupid Space Marine. At that point, that's all it is it's a Space Marine that's dumb. So your average world eater. But... yeah, I kind of regret that decision as I say that, like, it's just a Space Marine. Well, you can do other ones. I don't know what a Slanesh Ogren would look like. I would rather not try to envision it. Maybe give him lobster hands. I think that'd be fitting. Giant lobster boy. Tzeentch... I mean... Tzeentch could be anything. He could have tentacle arms that shoot flames, he could be covered in mouths. He could just be blue. Dabba-dee-dabba-die. You know, I kind of wish we had more Chaos variants of existing vehicles.
Threat eradicated. Mission status updated.
You know, I want to see a Tzeentch Chimera that spews like warp flame. You look at like the Plague Reaper, which is a Nurgly Baneblade. That's pretty cool. Instead of the Demolisher Cannon, it's a giant, like, pus spewer. It's disgusting, but it's a neat idea. And in the end, isn't that what really matters? I'd like it. I keep saying it. I just wish there was more variations on existing things, because you could do a lot, even if it's just conversion kits. Because it always kind of strikes me as odd that all these groups defect and join Chaos, and it's either they have their same old pristine, untouched gear with, you know, a person's face stapled on somewhere, a 8-pointed star slapped on a side, a body hanging off the back, you know, basic accoutrements. But it's either that, or it's some demon-infused monster where it's not even like a vehicle, it's like half demon, it's like a soul grinder, you know, half demon, half machine. There's no real in-between. It's not like, hey, so we got these weird, like, autocannons with demon faces on them. We're just gonna retrofit some of your vehicles because we can't maintain your vehicles because we don't have those parts or those ammos. So, here you go. Or, you know, Chaos being like, hey, so we don't use these things, but we do use these. Just little things that would make the vehicles unique, but still true to what they are. Like I've said before, like a chimera that carries zombies, so it's like a corpse cart. And might, you know, potentially give certain buffs or like the ability to replenish forces off it. You know, something like that, so that the vehicle remains, you know, a chimera or a rhino or whatever it may be, but it has certain visual changes, maybe a weapon change. It might get a little, like, plague mortar or something fancy. But it's generally the same vehicle, just the new faction style. I'd really like to see Tzeentch stuff.
Mission status updated.
I feel like all of Chaos, except Khorne, don't get enough attention. Khorne gets enough. You can't really change a whole lot. It's just angry man, scream, use chain axe. Anything past that, and you're starting to already dip into other people's territory. Like Tzeentch, you don't really see much. Especially when it comes to, honestly, like Adeptus, like AdMech. We have the Dark Mechanicus, but we don't have, I feel, anywhere near enough to be like, hey, this is the foil to AdMech. I want to see some whack-as-hell, floating, disc-riding, mechanical torso of Tzeentch. I want to see some, like, dual-chain, like, Darth Maul double-bladed lightsaber, but with chain swords on a robot for Khorne. For Slaanesh, you can make a robot with a giant spiked dong. I don't really care. Nurgle, I don't know, giant corpse? You know, you could do interesting things for each bit of chaos.
Collapsing. Praise the Deus Mechanicus.
For, you know, chaos engines and demon engines. I don't see a lot of engines. Or, one thing that'd be kind of cool is it definitely draws from, like, StarCraft. If you know the like Zerg-infested, I think it's the tanks, when they deploy a giant tentacle pops out of the top and they like stab at people. I think that'd be really cool to have as some form of like demonically possessed Leman Russ or a Land Raider, where like just this giant tentacular arm reaches out and just like grabs and slams around. It can have, you know, frag storm cannons or a bile spear or something, but its main weapon is just busting fools. Just backhanding dudes left and right when they get near. It'd be cool. Hey, we got a relic. Actually, that would work. I'm liking what I'm seeing. Movement speed and exposed, get rid of that. Stun the attacker on dodge, get rid of that. Adrenaline, dump it. But bonus for bleeding effects, and physical vulnerability on poison skill could be useful. I can definitely see something come out of that. But that is all for now. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit the like button, it helps out the channel a lot. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.